episode of Prime Time. When I used to go out in the street during the Obama years, I had such a hard time finding a black American who didn't like Obama. Obama could do anything, and they loved him. Johnny goes out now. We have a hard time finding black Americans who like Biden. Is that going to translate into anything?
I think it really is. Let me tell you something. Not only do I watch you every night, but my mom watches. She watches, and she says she hate watches you. She watches you. You make points, but she says you're crazy.
So is my mom.
That's what's happening. A lot of
both of our moms hate watch me.
I know. So I think what's happening is really a movement is coming about. I've been on the whole, hey, as black people, we should hold our vote for who is actually for us for a long time. And I got called all kinds of words that I won't say on your family-friendly program. But I really do think a solid movement is going here. I live in Atlanta, and I've heard from a lot of people who called into my radio program about how they really are changing. So there's a real momentum. It's more than just words. This is really happening.
So should we put how much stock in 50, Snoop, Killer Mike, guys like that?
You don't put any much stock in them, but I'll tell you what you should put stock in. Most black men, as Killer Mike said, they have fears. But here to tell you what the exact fear was. The fear is in the black community that black men don't want to upset black women. If you remember the last election cycle, black men were coming out. Seriously, they were coming out voting and saying they were going to vote for Trump. And then there were articles upon articles in major magazines, in HuffPost, talking about how black men have let the black community down. So they were afraid of having that put on them. So now I think many of them, because black women are starting to say, hey, I'm looking elsewhere, they're feeling more emboldened to say, we're really going to go and cast that ballot for someone other than a Democrat.
We have so much.
All right, so you heard Fox News. So you see there, you saw the news guest they had was Tommy Sotomayor, and Tommy Sotomayor is a commentator that was formerly on YouTube, but now he's not. But if you have heard him, normally he's not really optimistic about the black community, and especially when it comes to how they vote. But here, him being more optimistic, we'll put it like this, does say something to me. Now the reasons why he gives, I can't really vouch for that. I'm not saying whether it's true or not. I'm pretty sure there's some truth, because human nature, how human nature is, certain people get more, we'll just say, courage to vote when their peers, or courage to do something when other people around them find it more acceptable. It's just the way human nature is. But I don't know if it's like that in mass. Again, I can't really vouch for that. Nevertheless, I do. There was an article, I think a New York Times poll, that shows how black support for New York Times poll shows black support raising fivefold, and there's other demographics too that jumped, but it wasn't like Biden's support really fell. It was more like Trump's support raised amongst these demographics. So, anyways, in 2024, you had Trump getting the registered 34% of the registered voting, Biden getting 44%, men with 36%, Trump, 36% Trump, and women, 36% Trump and 41% Biden, and women 32% Trump and 46% Biden. All right, and then you have the black vote, which was 4% Trump, 7% Biden, Hispanic 20% Trump, 41% Biden, white 43% Trump, 40% Biden, and other 24% Trump, 51% Biden, as opposed to now, you have the registered vote. You have blacks going 23%, 23% Trump, which is almost a six-fold increase, actually, and 66% Biden. So it's a little drop amongst the Biden voters, not much. It's like 67 to 66. 41% with Hispanics. 40% with Hispanics versus 41% in 2020, which is not much of a drop with Hispanics, but it was 20% with Hispanics in 2020, but it's now 40%, 6%. So that's almost a twofold percent increase. But whites is 53% Trump and 43%, and it was as opposed to 43% in 2020 and 40%. And the white vote and Biden votes didn't drop at all. It was like 40%. In others, it dropped for Biden. It dropped to 43% as opposed to 51%, and it rose to 45% as opposed to 24%. So that's almost a doubling amongst others. So it wasn't like Biden's consensus was dropped off. It was more like they raised for Trump. It dropped a little bit. Now, education is interesting. So it seems like Trump is more on the uneducated, more in line with the uneducated, where you have Trump. So you have in 2020, you have Trump getting 27% of the mass BAs as opposed to bachelor's degrees, as opposed to 58% of Biden, 38% non-bachelor's degrees, and with no bachelor's as opposed to 35%. With white college, you had 32% versus 57%. Biden, you have with white no college 49% with 30% with Biden. Non-white college, you have 60% versus 60% Biden. So Biden get a lot of non-white college votes. And non-white college and non-white no college, you have 15%, 48%. So it was so Trump got the same amount of college non-white votes, whether there was college or no college, but Biden vote was, but the Biden vote was different. But anyways, but in education you have, with the bachelor's degree, it increased with Trump this year in 2020 with 38% as opposed to 27, 54, it dropped to 54 as opposed to 58. That's what it was last time. With no bachelor's degrees, it dropped. It went from 38 to 54, and from 30. But it increased from 36.5 to 36 now. Okay, I'm sorry, I just had a blackout. So with white college, it went from 32. It went from white college, it went from 32 to 40, and went from 57 to 55. So it dropped a little bit. And white no college, it went from 49 to 62, and it dropped a little bit amongst Biden with from 30 to 29. And you have non-white college, you have it raised from 16 to 33%, and it dropped from 60 to 52%, and from 15 to 41% non-white no college, 15 to 41%, and non-white 47. So I think college does liberalize me. It really does. But my main concern with this has been the whole migrant thing, and yeah, it's just been like I mean, first of all, it's concerning to me because what y'all gonna do? What are conservatives gonna do after Trump? What is conservatives gonna do after Trump? Like, what are they gonna really do after Trump? Like, I mean, what's the plan? What's the plan? I mean, Trump did did more to look out for the black community than any other politician. But what's the plan? That's what bothers me about conservatives. Number two, I think they might be blowing this up. They're blowing this up because a lot of times they was blowing up Trump's possibilities before in 2020, but then he lost. So it's like no plan. And it's not like and how are we going to stop inflation? Because it was like the inflation rate was an accumulative thing. So it wasn't like it was all Biden because inflation was in there. It was Trump's too. It was Trump and Obama. It was a lot of it had to do with Trump and Obama and their spending habits. So you have that. Then you have the whole why are African Americans voting for Trump? Some of it has to do with the economy because they thought the economy was better, but a lot of it has to do with the freaking migrant crisis, right? And the migrant crisis and them shipping into these liberal areas. Why shouldn't they ship them to the liberal areas? Because the liberal areas voted for them. And as African Americans we vote for the Democrats who said they effectively want to open border more than the Hispanics do. So they gave us what we voted for, and then now we're mad. They say, well, they don't care about us. No, that's exactly what we vote for. We voted for that. And because they said we thought it was prejudice, racial prejudice, not to vote that way. But then when we had to take care of them, we did at the expense of us, because a lot of their policies are like that. We just benefit somebody else at the expense of us. I mean, there's a lot of Democrat policies are like that. A lot of politicians' policies are like that generally. You know, like with a lot of the black Democrats want reparations, or there's a lot of blacks who want reparations. Most of them not conservatives. But I mean, the way they give out money to other countries and certain other people, I mean, you can make a case for reparations just for that. Whether you like the concept or not, it's just like, why are you giving other people in other countries money who have nothing to do with us when we have black people who at least have, I mean, when you have black people who, even if you say they weren't slaves, if they weren't slaves, our ancestors did stuff, so we're more deserving than the people overseas. I mean, what about like the Flint water issues or things like that? Come on, dude. And like the homelessness in these inner cities, even if it's not even reparations, you could take care of these inner cities. I mean, some of these places better with infrastructure or whatever. At least China, when they invest in public stuff, it's like in infrastructure and things of this nature, China and other countries. But look at us, man. Our infrastructure is falling apart in a lot of places. But I mean, we voted for this. I mean, they don't have to do. They've literally been doing nothing for a while, and they've been taking care of other people more than us. They just did it to our face, and now we're like, oh, now we care. This is just irritating to me, man. It's the whys that are irritating. It's the future that's irritating. Because what's the Republican politicians going to do after Trump? What are what is he going to do to really solve inflation? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I know his foreign policy will probably be better. I believe his public policy will probably be better, and he will deal with the migrant crisis. And I'm glad that some people got a wake up call on what they was voting for. It's just like, okay, this is what you voted for. This is what you can have. And it's like, well, they don't care about us. It's like, well, I mean, you got what they told you was going to give you, what they was going to give you, and they gave it to you. So why are we mad? Why are we saying they don't care? They told us, we went along with it. Now we got now we're first beneficiaries of this. And so, anyways, man. So that's That's really all I have to say. I'm just a little bit aggravated about this. I don't really think this is going to. I don't. This is not necessarily. It's hard to tell what's going to happen in the future, but who knows? We'll see. But anyways, I think we shouldn't hold our breath, and I think we should just. I think we should be very cautious. Conservatives should be very cautiously optimistic, and I can understand why liberals aren't really necessarily super scared. But anyways, that's all I really have to say, because they hype up the propaganda machine, they can still probably sway a lot of people. But anyways, especially if something happens right before the election, because really all something has to do is happen right before the election, and then that'll just sway a lot of people's emotions, and then Biden can get in again. But anyways, that's all I really have to say. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. Peace.